Okay, it says we're live. It says we're live, but sometimes in my experience, there's a few second delay. So I'm just going to ramble for a few seconds. But hello, everybody. Mark Brower here going live. I want to try to go live more often. It seems like it's a trend and people like seeing the raw, unfiltered, unvarnished version of people. So here you go. And I wanted to show something. Let's see if I can do this. What? So I want to present my screen, entire screen. Here we go. There we go. Check that out. So I want to show you what I was working on in ChatGPT, and here's what I'm doing in ChatGPT. I'm like, hey, give me 20 top investor-minded landlord tips that intersect with the things that I like talking about that I think I can add the most value around. I really like talking about mindset. So look at number 2. I hope this is showing up, actually. I think it is. Look at number 2. Track your net worth quarterly, not just your monthly cash flow. So yeah, this is showing up. What does that mean? Well, often, okay, let me start with this. I have never met a landlord who's owned rental properties for over 20 years who has regretted owning rental properties. Never happened in the history of Earth. If you know someone that that fits that description, please tell me about it. I've never heard of it. In fact, if we could build a time machine and go back 20 years, I would be the richest man alive because I could sell unlimited real estate to anyone with money. So the reality is, and I believe, by the way, this is not a once in a lifetime phenomenon, that the last 20 years just happened to be so fantastic in wealth building, using real estate as the asset class, that it's never going to repeat. I believe very strongly that the median house, which right now is maybe $450,000, that will be a $900,000 property inside of the next 20 years, maybe inside of the next 15 years. Okay, so what kind of a mindset, what are the mindsets that successful landlords adopt that allow them to stay in this asset class long enough to have a fighting chance of building wealth? Because if we're honest, we acknowledge that this is a difficult asset class. Not everyone can build wealth by being a landlord. It is not easy. So here, look at number 2. Track your net worth quarterly, not just your monthly cash flow. This is worth talking about, in my opinion, because in order for us to have the vision that gets us excited enough, or that allows us to have enough like sort of proof positive or validation early in our landlord journey to help us stick with this, we need to be looking at the right measurements. And all too often, to a fault, landlords are looking at their cash flow as evidence of their success. And it is not just about cash flow. I've owned rental properties for over 20 years. I am here to tell you, it is not about cash flow in the early years. You know what it's about? It's about your net worth increasing. It is about your net worth increasing. Well, most people aren't thinking about their net worth on a daily basis. Or if they're thinking about their net worth, they see evidence of their stock portfolio, or they see evidence of cash in their bank account. And they have this validation that, hey, this is working. I'm experiencing the pain of saving, but I see immediate feedback loop. I see that there's a benefit to this. So I'm going to keep doing this. Well, in real estate, it's different. It's different. And I've found that most of us lack vision in some abstract idea that for instance, okay, I'm going to keep feeding this investment cash. I'm going to keep feeding this investment cash so that hopefully 15 years from now, it's feeding me cash, which, by the way, has largely been my experience. I fed my rental properties cash for over 10 years. And then after that point, they started feeding me cash. And guess what? Right now, they're feeding me a lot of cash. And I'm excited when I get my mortgage statements because there's like $1,500 a month going to principal, $800 a month going to principal. So what's the metric? Instead of looking at cash flow, we should be looking at net worth. What is happening to my personal financial statement, otherwise known as a balance sheet? What is happening to my balance sheet because I own this property, not what is happening to my cash? And if we start reframing, by the way, it's kind of hard, right? Because it's like, well, am I going to have a professional like appraisal of my property every quarter and really know if I'm going up or down? Well, Zillow kind of helps with that a little bit. It's not always accurate, but helps with that a little bit. But here's the reality. In Phoenix, if you own residential real estate, it's highly probable that over the next 20 years, you're going to see about a 3 to 4% appreciation rate. And if you're super conservative, take a 3% rate. But my properties have done better than 4% over the last 20 years. And mind you, I bought most of them before the 2004, 2005 run up in price, and then the subsequent meltdown, the crash in 2007, 2008, right? So I had this like 10-year period of time when I was underwater. And now, 15 years after that, I'm like super thrilled that I bought these rental properties. So if you take a 4% appreciation rate, let's do the math, $500,000 property, 4% appreciation rate, you're going up in value $20,000 a year. That means $1,800 a month or $60 a day is accruing to your benefit when you're sleeping, when you're awake, when you're eating, when you're exercising, when you're working, when you're watching TV. $60 per day. What is that per minute? What is that per hour? It's like $2.50 an hour that you're getting richer for doing nothing, for just owning this rental property. Not only that, but you're also getting some tax advantages by hopefully depreciating it and writing off the depreciation. Not only that, you're also getting some principal pay down, right? Not only that, over time, your rents are increasing, right? And so all of these four levers that I just mentioned are working to your benefit. But if you lose sight of the fact that maybe the most important thing you should be measuring to keep yourself on track with your long-term wealth building goals in real estate is the fact that your balance sheet is growing, your personal financial statement is getting better, then you might join the thousands, probably I would say more than 80, 90% of landlords who stick their toe in the water and within 5 years they're out. It's a real shame because 5 years isn't long enough. 5 years of feeding this machine some money so you can hopefully get some advantage or some benefit out of it someday is not long enough in real estate. 10 years, maybe 10 years, you start seeing some benefit. But guess what happens between 10 and 20 years? The whole world explodes with benefit. Like literally the exponential benefit of that property value increasing, rents increasing, loan payoff going down. This gap widens at an increasing rate, and your wealth builds exponentially faster. You have to get past that first 5 to 10 years. And the most important mindset shift to getting past that first 5 to 10 years is looking at net worth. Okay. You can be cash flowing $300 a month while losing equity. Well, that's rare, but that could happen. You might be temporarily cash flow negative, but gaining $30,000 a year in equity, which is better. You want to be gaining, it's a false metric. Cash flow is not everything. Cash flow can be a very small part of the picture. Would you be invested? Like, are you willing to spend $400 to $500 a month on your Roth IRA? Right? Most of us are like, yes, well, because I can see evidence that's growing to my advantage. Would I be willing to be negative cash flow $400 to $500 a month on rental property? Why is that so much more painful than the Roth IRA when actually it could be growing even faster? It could be growing your wealth faster. I think it's because it's hard to measure. And the unexpected expense requirements of owning a rental property hit us like surprise shocks. And I think emotionally, psychologically, that's so hard for most people to handle. Okay. What else is worth talking here? I think that's the main point. And so I don't know if maybe I should have just done full screen like this with me freaking out the whole time. Anyway, hope this is helpful. Drop a comment, give me some feedback. If you saw the list at the beginning of this video, tell me what other topics would interest you. I went way longer than I thought I was going to. Take care.